Hey, Jeremy Boillot. Am I
Good
saying it
morning,
right?
morning.
Correct me.
Perfect.
Please pronounce your name.
Boillot.
Okay, Jeremy, we're
Jeremy Boillot.
so Jeremy, you are not from the United States originally. Where are you from?
I am born, raised in France, and then
Okay. What
moved.
part of France?
Actually, we were in Paris, so just right on, I guess,
Paris.
on the outskirts of Paris,
Okay.
and which is mostly where I grew up, if you will. And then my dad's side is from Dijon, where they make
Okay.
where the mustard comes from.
Of course. So when did you move to the United States?
I was 12 years old, moved to Seattle at the time with the whole family. So, first generation. None of us knew how to speak English besides my dad. I think he knew a few words, transferred with work, and
Okay.
yeah, the rest is history.
What was his work? What line of work was he in?
So he was a CFO for a biometric company, and then they ended up getting a couple contracts, and so they asked him to move, and then
Okay.
looking back, it's now that I am pretty much, actually I was thinking this the other day, I am at the age that he was when he picked up his whole family and then moved to another country, which for some reason that just completely blew my mind to think like, hey, if I was to pick up my family today and then move them to a different country, one where we don't speak the language, I'm kind of blown away by it now looking back, right? So it's pretty cool. So yeah,
It's really brave of him. So how old are you right now?
I am 39.
Okay. That was really brave of him.
Yeah, I think so.
So how did you learn to speak English? Just
So for me, I mean, it's just a matter of getting submerged, right? It's a
okay.
little bit of sink or swim. I was at the perfect age where I was able to keep my French, and then learn English relatively quickly, if you will, where I was able to, I think at that age, like kids didn't really care, right? You just, picked up a toy and you kind of hung out with everybody, and they thought it was cool. And I think over time, you start picking up words, and I think I thought it was fun, they thought it was fun, and fortunately enough I was able to learn it pretty fast.
Oh yeah. So people
Fortunately,
thought it was cool that you spoke French and that you were from France, like your friends here in the United States. They thought that was cool.
yeah, I think so, and honestly if they didn't, I probably didn't understand anyways, so I don't so I don't think, maybe looking back, maybe they didn't think it was cool and I thought that they thought it was cool, but and I think learning the language, and honestly it made me obviously who I am today, and I guess it made me probably resilient and probably adaptable, if you will. But I think that I was fortunate enough where actually my mom is from Poland, and then so
Mhm.
during the summertime they would send me over to Poland, right, to go see my grandparents. Both of my parents were, obviously, like I said, I was raised in France, but they would send
Okay.
me to Poland, so I ended up learning Polish as well. So essentially, I felt like it was pretty easy for me to transition into, I feel like it opens up a different part of your brain where you can easily jump right into it and, learn the language faster.
So do you now speak three languages or do you still have all of them? You have English.
So
You're doing really great.
what's that with the
I
English?
said you're doing really well with English. You're doing good
Yeah,
with
I finally got it down. And
it.
actually, I got a funny story about that. But yeah, so I speak French fluently. I can go to France, and most people would have no idea that I speak English. And then for the most part, same thing here in the U.S. But Polish, it's a little bit rusty. I don't use it as much. We actually just went to Poland 2 months ago, and it was actually really cool because I was able to come out with my Polish and talk to like the driver just randomly. And again, I probably haven't used it for, I don't know, 15 years. So it's crazy how your brain just, puts something on its side, and I was able to just, come out. Now, was it super choppy? Absolutely. But the fact that, my kids were there, so it was cool for them. I think they were blown away because I think they had no idea. And to be honest, I probably had no idea either that I was able to remember it. I feel like it's the way I saw it, it's like a song, right? Let's say you haven't heard a song in 20 years, and then somehow you're just like, saying the lyrics, and you're like, whoa, I can't believe I remember this. So I had the same feeling.
I love it. Um, what's the funny story about English?
Oh no, just not so the weird part is I feel like I got rid of my French accent relatively quick. And now I feel bad because I'm like, I wish I could have it back. Because at the time I'm like, well, I don't want to keep this accent,
Okay.
I just felt different, right?
Right. Okay.
And especially at that age, like nobody wants to be quote unquote different. So
Okay.
I was on a different Zoom call just 2 days ago, and then the guy stopped me. He's like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "What? What do you mean?" And he's like, "Oh, you're Canadian for sure." And I'm like, no." He's like, "Oh, I can hear your accent. Like you didn't say a boot or anything, but I can hear that you have an accent." And then so we kind of went into this tangent, but for some reason it shocked me. But the other thing I was going to say is that there was a couple words for years I could not say to save my life, like Mercedes or McDonald's. It was the strangest thing, and that's when my accent came out, which I thought was, it was always, it would always hit me because it would come out of nowhere. So I would just never even say those words. I would never
So
say.
like you couldn't, like your mouth just wouldn't form in the right way. You couldn't form the syllables in the right way.
Yeah, I would randomly have my accent would come out. Um, I would say McDonald or something along those lines, right? Where it
Okay.
was people would have no idea that I spoke another language, but then I would say those words and they'd be like, what did you
Where's
say?
this guy
You
from?
know? Right. So
Oh my
like I
gosh. So
said, I would never say it.
have you taught the kids? Do they speak English and French?
They definitely speak English. They're, obviously they're born and raised here. But French has been, yes. So they have learned French, and we go
Okay.
there periodically. I would say at least every 2 years,
Okay.
more or less. And they've picked it up. The other thing that we do that's really cool is we do Duolingo.
Oh, good.
And so I've been picking up Spanish, and it's very much gamified, right? So we get, you can have fun competition, and out of all of the different systems out there, I feel like that's one that they've picked up on, and they do a really good job. So
That's going to be really impressive when you speak four languages fluently.
yeah, yeah. And again, I don't know if I can say Polish fluently per se, and I can definitely get
You
around.
call a cab.
Yeah, I can call a cab. Yeah, I can talk to my Uber driver. And then same with Spanish, right? I don't think I'll potentially be fluent, but especially in my business or just in general, it's good. It's good to just be aware, and why not?
Right. Yeah. So you graduated high school and then went on to college. What does your education look like, and how
I
did you get
did,
to be a
yeah,
loan officer?
yeah. So good question. So I went to University of Washington, studied international business,
Okay.
and naturally, I guess. And my original thought was to help companies go internationally, so expand internationally, or
Okay.
to have European country or companies move to the U.S. And help them expand. So that was my original thought and what I was really passionate about.
Okay.
Um, Went on, and actually I worked for a transportation company. Then I worked for Target, and helped Target open stores in Canada, which was a ton of fun. I loved it. But at the end of the day, even though I wasn't 100% in stores, it was still retail, and it wasn't, I felt like it wasn't something that I'm passionate about.
Right. Right.
Um, and then my brother-in-law owned a company here in Arizona, a mortgage company, and for years
Okay.
he's like, "Oh yeah, come work down here, you'll love it." And then I was like, yeah, sales is not really my thing. I'm not really into it. It's not where I saw myself going. That's not, what I anticipated. So anyways, long story short, I ended up doing it. I pulled the trigger. And then honestly, I hope I can do this and will do this for the rest of my life. So
Good. Good. So you've been doing it for how many years now?
11 years.
Oh, okay. So where
Yep.
did you meet your wife and all of that? Did you meet her in college, or did you know her in high school, or where was?
We knew each other in high school.
Okay. You went
Yep.
to the same high school?
We did, yeah.
Okay.
Then we actually, well, I should take that back. So I also went to community college, and she did as well for 2 years. And then before going to University of Washington, and she ended up going there as well. But again, like we would see each other, we kind of knew each other, and say hi. That was the extent of
Okay.
it, right? And then we went to the same university, but we would go on the same path, which was it was really interesting how it turned out. But yeah, and then we went to college together, and the rest is history.
Okay. So you've been married for more than 11 years.
Yeah,
Okay. Do you know how many years you've been married?
no, no, I'm just kidding. We got married November 11, 11, 11.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever forget that, we know
Oh, I would never
something's
forget that. Are
wrong.
you kidding me? The best day of my life.
Oh, of course, of course. That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about your trip back back home and to Poland. What was that like you went this past summer, right?
Yeah, we just went this past summer. Honestly, it was cool in a couple different reasons. Well, one, we went to Poland, and usually we haven't. When we go back, we usually go to France or
Mhm.
so Poland. I haven't been in probably, I don't know, 25 years, right? A long time. And
Okay.
my memory of Poland was a little bit post-communism, right? So again, I was obviously younger, but it was very different. And a lot of people would always tell me, like cousins, like, "Oh yeah, come visit. You'll see it's completely changed." And my mom lives there, so we ended up making a trip out there, and it was awesome. It did definitely change, from what I remembered it.
Mhm.
And it's cool, right? It's nostalgic. What's really cool
Mhm.
too, and then we went to France as well, right? We get to see my
Okay.
dad. What is cool is that the kids are older now. So yes, they've had the opportunity to go, multiple times through their life, but they've always been so young that they're like, oh yeah, whatever. They hop on a plane and they're going along with the flow, right? But now that they're a little bit older, I think they're truly able to like build, relationship with their grandparents, which is really cool. And also appreciate more like the culture, the food, the understanding for, there's another whole another world out there. So I think to me that was the coolest part of the trip for sure.
I love it. Is it hard to raise your kids without your parents being here? Or
I wouldn't say necessarily hard. I feel like we do a pretty good job keeping in contact, if you will. And we have uh, my wife Melissa's parents that live here, or mom. So, they have
that's
some
smart.
grandparents, right, which is helpful. But I think at the end of the day, they feel like it's cool, right? It's cool that they have grandparents there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm also super happy because I just 2 years ago got them their French citizenship, which
Oh,
was,
really?
yeah, that was really cool. Like that's probably, like, looking back, I feel like in like 20 years, like what have I accomplished? I feel like that would be on the list because one, it wasn't easy to do. Two, I think it's gonna, I think, have them have options, if you will.
Right.
Whether they
Right.
need to use it or not, who knows? But at least they have that option to be able to say, hey, you know what? We have a French citizenship, and we can go there if we need to or want to.
That's awesome. And you have dual citizenship as well?
I do, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So
That's
actually
perfect.
just got my US citizenship probably a year before then, so 3 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thanks.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's so
actually,
good.
yeah.
So does that play a role in your client base? Are like you speaking French, being from France? Do you have clients that are French?
Yeah, so when I first got in the business, a lot of people would be like, "Oh yeah, go talk to the people that you know," and being in the line of work that I'm in, essentially, I'm 100% self-employed, right? So you got to go out there and you got to grind to get your own business. So one of the ways was, and I was young and getting new into the mortgage industry, 11 years ago. It's like, who the heck would do business with me when you have this guy has no idea what he's doing, right?
Right.
So to
Yeah.
me, essentially, I was like, you know what? There's probably no loan officers that speak French. I was
Mhm.
was my assumption, and that is true. So I would go out and go through a lot of a lot of the events, the French events,
Okay.
which was, ended up being, one, a ton of fun because it got me connected to the French community here,
Right.
in Arizona, and just nationwide, matter of fact. And then it also allowed me to build relationship, which was cool. Relationship that I still have, whether I do business with them or not. But it's people that I care about,
Right.
and that we can connect on from a French level. It's really cool. And I think people would be surprised that the French community is actually pretty large, a lot larger than one would think.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I've told you this before, but my daughter's boyfriend is French. His
Yeah.
dad moved here when he was 18. And they have a whole like French community. I'm just wondering if you've ever crossed paths. I know we've talked about it, but
Yeah, we may have.
I'm going to send him this podcast after we record it and upload
Do
it.
it.
We'll
Do it.
find out. We'll find out.
Yeah.
So, people do want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. But I do think it's interesting when you're starting in business and you're young. I think it takes some time to build that up. At what point did you feel like things started like rolling for you? Because they're rolling for you. You're doing great, right?
Yeah. I feel like I'm doing good. I feel like also in my head, I'm like, I can do 20 times more, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you know me,
Yeah.
we've talked about this multiple times, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like where, you know, I want to say it clicked for me right away in a sense of like,
Really?
well, the reason I say that, not necessarily from like, hey, I'm getting business right away, but I'm very much the type of like, hey, if I set my mind into something, like I will put in the work. And I strongly believe if you put in the work, things will happen. Doesn't matter what you want to do, right? You want to, I don't know, be a bodybuilder tomorrow. Like you're gonna, if you put in the work, like you will become a bodybuilder, right? So like for me, it wasn't really a question of like, hey, is this, is this gonna work or this is not gonna work? Is it like, hey, am I gonna be passionate enough to make it work? And I think that, hey, if you're passionate about something, like you can make it work. So, as far as like, hey, business rolling in, I feel like I would never be able to say business is constantly rolling in, right? You still have to always work hard at it, um,
Yeah.
as you know. But um, I think in this industry, we've seen some ups and downs, and I've been long enough to see those, which is cool, right? At first, when I first got into it, people used to always talk about 2008 and what happened during that time, and I wasn't in the industry at that time, right? But
Mm.
now I've seen some really good ups and downs, and I enjoy that. I think that's the cool part of the business, right?
Mm. How do you prepare for those downs? Do you like what do you do to prepare for that?
Yeah, for
Do
me,
you prepare for it?
no, I do. Absolutely. I
Okay.
feel like you have to be prepared. Like this is what I think sets people apart in business in general. And for me, it really comes down to, hey, when I'm like, let's say if I'm slow, it's a good time for me to go out there and network and meet people and get my systems in place for when it gets busy, like crazy busy. Then, obviously I still want to focus on those items, but maybe I'm more into the weeds of my business than, I would be. So for me, like right now, I would say it's probably a little bit more of a lull than it has been in the last couple months, couple years.
Mhm.
But it's a great time for me to like, recoup, get all the stuff in order, get my stuff organized. So for the next peak, I can rock and roll.
Good. So do you you're not really you don't put yourself out there on social media, right?
Yeah, it's
Or your business or for your personal, neither one?
no, it's not, for some reason it's not something that's in my head, it's a lot of noise that I feel
Yeah.
like I don't necessarily need or want to be part of. Now, there's some people who will focus on that, right? And that's perfectly fine. For me, as far as, there's so many hours in the day, there's 20 other things that I feel like I can do that I'd rather do, well. And as you know, and Abby knows as well, if I'm going to do something, like I'm going to go at it 100%. I'm going to go all the way.
All
And I
in.
feel like I don't want to just, for example, do social media for my business and then, just have, I don't know, a post sitting there and not really do anything.
Right. You'd go all in and you'd be obsessed then.
Right.
So
Exactly.
so how does your business grow? Through relationships?
Yeah.
And are you networking? Like what are you doing?
Yeah. So for me, it's twofold. One is definitely relationship. Whether it's directly to clients, realtor, community. And what I mean by community is, the French community, right? I'm part of a group. The city of Phoenix has a sister city with Grenoble, France. So
Oh,
yeah, so we go, we meet about once a month and we do different events, and it's actually a ton of fun. So yeah,
really? Okay.
yeah. And there's a couple of other groups here and there that I'm part of that's, I attend. So a lot of the networking like that, like I enjoy it. Like that's a cool part of, I feel like of the job that's, I do it every day, if you will. But a lot of it's definitely relationship based, right?
Mhm.
It's I don't go and buy leads. I don't go and that's
Okay.
going on
Good.
social
Yep.
media, right? So for me,
Yeah.
it's, the people that I go and meet, it's, hey, I'm going to help you build your business because if you succeed, I succeed, right?
Mhm.
What can I do to make your life easier? you know, potentially with the process that's like, hey, you're not getting at the moment. How can I help you do that? So to me, that's really what it comes down to. And I think that's what, you know, essentially why I feel like I've been relatively successful, to be able to build those relationships.
Do you have a good referral partner base of real estate agents?
I do, yeah, yeah. And again, most of my business is where they come from, and I think that's what I truly love about what I do is that my referral partners, they know me personally, right?
Mhm.
They know my family, and vice versa, which is super cool, right? Because that's just having that bond. It's like you automatically have that trust, right? It's like they will. I trust them just as much as they trust me, and the fact that we've built this relationship, like in my opinion, goes a long ways. It ensures that they're going to be successful, that I'm going to continue to be successful, and I think that's a cool part. So, you know, the downside with that is because some of these relationships are so deep, is that, you know, there's only again so many hours in a day, right? There's so many relationships that you can have in such depth, that, you know, sometimes it could hurt your growth as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's why driven relationships is in business, because we feel like, you can only do so much. You can only do so many face-to-face coffees and true connection. But you still need to keep in touch with all of these people in your database,
Right.
all of your customers, all your other referral partners. And so that's what I love about what we do is keeping people connected, so that they can do that face-to-face, because only you can do that. Only you can sit
100%.
across from someone and have coffee and truly care and truly listen.
Yeah. And
Um,
also it's you guys do that from the outside of just, you know, the canned messaging, right? Which is the cool thing, right? Because building relationship, it's outside of, you know, what an AI robot can send.
right,
But more
right,
of like, hey, this came from Jeremy. Like this is the
right,
relationship that, you know, I know Jeremy. I know he's sending me this. So
right.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah. I loved an email you sent. I think it was around Father's Day. It was a picture of your dad and the
Uh,
kids and you, I think, like
yeah.
at a bakery in France. It was
Yeah. Yeah.
just sweet, nice email. I loved it. It was
I
really
appreciate
good.
that. I actually got a lot of good feedback out of that one. So
Good. Did you write that or did my team write that?
a combination of the two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Good.
think I think it was yeah, it was cool, right? It was heartfelt. And that's the stuff that I like, right? Versus the
Right.
can you know, newsletter, like that's not my thing, right? That's not how I build my business, and that's not how I want to continue to build my business. So I think that we need to be different. There's so many different loan officers out there, right? There's so
Oh
many
my gosh.
different realtors, there's so many different marketing companies. Like, how can we be different? What kind of value can we provide that's going to be outside of that? Where somebody would say, and I hear that all the time, and I'm very fortunate. It's like, I don't want to use anybody else but Jeremy, right? Like, how cool is that? Like, that's
Love
the
that.
coolest feeling. But again, it's it's not doesn't happen over time. Like, you need to earn that trust.
Mhm.
And so I feel like that's
Yeah.
some of the ways of just being, you know, personal and caring.
Mhm. Yeah. I think making the person on the other end, making your client or making your referral partner feel like they are your only client.
Yeah.
Like you want to make them feel like the most important person on the planet. And
Yeah.
then you need them to get to know you at the same time. Which is what I think is so cool about you. You're really interesting.
Oh.
You just texted me some videos of you flying yesterday. So I know you flew last week. So tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about that.
So I don't know, maybe you can call it a midlife crisis, I suppose. I don't know. But I just like to do cool stuff. Like, that's one thing that I really love about my business is that I can pretty much do whatever I want, whenever I want. Right now, don't get me wrong, I work hard and I love what I do, and I'm constantly working on vacation, whatever else, because I enjoy it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But also I feel like work hard, play hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, one of the things that I was like, you know what, I've always wanted to do flying lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up meeting, actually, I was at a meeting with a realtor, and she's like, hey, my son is a flight instructor. I'm like, wow, that's really cool. No way. So anyways, long story short, we, you know, she put me in contact with them, and we went up. You know, I mean, he probably thought I was crazy because I remember asking him, hey, did you sleep good last night? I was like, it was early in the morning. It was like 4. I was like, did you sleep good? Like, you know, this plane is good. So, anyways, it was fine. It was a ton of fun, and
Okay.
I'm, I'm considering getting my pilot's license. I think would be pretty cool.
I think that's
Just something
amazing.
different. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I asked you yesterday, is that a French thing? Because my daughter's boyfriend, who's French, is
Uh,
getting his license, but you said no, it's just,
I don't think so. I mean,
I
you
don't know.
know,
Are you Frenchmen just more
we
adventurous?
just,
Grab
you know
life
what
by the
though?
horn?
That's actually a good point because I feel like the French people that I know, yeah, I mean, I think more adventurous. Like, I don't know. I guess I can't say for sure. However, what I would say, and maybe because I'm more in tune of the language, every time we travel anywhere in the world, I always hear French people. And
Mm.
again, I don't, even my wife is she even notices it now too. But, so anyways, yeah, I don't think the pilot thing is a French thing. I think it's a
Okay.
complete coincidence. But
Um, I do think, as an entrepreneur, I mean, I know you're with Barrett Financial
yeah,
as a loan officer, but you're really running your own thing. You're commission only, right?
yep,
Which
yep,
I believe takes a different sort of personality,
yeah.
right?
It does. It does. And again, I think it goes back to loving what you do. If you love it, it's like you're not going to stress. You're not going to worry about it. Now, of course, there's going to be months and time where it's just like it's a grind, right? You're figuring out your systems, you're figuring out what works for you. And that's to me, that's the fun part. But I
Mhm.
do feel comfortable in saying that it's like I will put in the time. And if you're willing to put in the time in anything, you're going to be fine. So, um, I think I've gotten to love the mortgage industry a lot more than I anticipated 10 years ago.
That's
And
good.
yeah, no, like I said, that's something that hopefully I can do and want to do for the rest of my life. So I think that, yeah, it's just so rewarding, right? Helping people, everybody's got a different story, hearing and hearing what the challenges are at the beginning and what can I do to get them to the finish line. Like to me, I take pride in be able to help people do that. And I think that's
Yeah.
pretty
What's the hardest situation that you've gotten across the finish line?
cool. Oh, that's a good question. I mean, they're all challenging, I want to say, in their own way. Even some clients who are like, super easy, there's always something somewhere, right? The thing for me, it's like I take pride in the sense of, when I'm done with the transaction, let's say in 20 days, 30 days, or at the end of when they're done, right? Whether it's a refinance or a purchase, like they genuinely feel bad that we're done. Like they're like, what? This is it. Like I call them, I usually have my spiel of like, hey, thanks, appreciate, you trusting me. And they're like, what? This is it. Um, so it's kind of
Like they're sad that they're done working with you, like they want it
right.
to keep going.
So and well, so truth be told, so it's like for me, it's like if I don't get to that spot, like I feel like I haven't succeeded, right? I want them to feel that. I want them to feel like this was so cool. Like it was cool talking to Jeremy, and like you know what I mean. It's like at the end of the day, and I don't know if like, I've heard people say this in the past, but it's nobody wants a mortgage, right? Nobody wants to talk to me, and I don't blame them. People want the house, right? At the end of
Right,
the day, and I don't blame
right.
them, but I'm just a means to the house. So how can I make the process just a little bit easier, maybe a
Yeah,
little bit more enjoyable to get us or get them to the finish line? So
yeah. Well, and they have to show you everything. I think it's like you have to be really vulnerable
yeah,
to like show you like all your financials or whatever. It's a lot. Do you
yeah.
work with a lot of friends, personal friends and family? Like, do you do that, or are sometimes friends hesitant because they don't want to show it all?
I try to stay away from it.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
there's a few friends where, I mean, people's personality, right? And to me, it's like I'm also the type where it's like if somebody's want to work with me, like that's okay. Like that's fine. I'm not gonna be the one like, oh yeah, work with me, it's gonna be great, right?
Mhm.
So if but again, I have some close relationships where yeah, I will do the loan for them, but in a sense of, there's times where I'm like, yeah, you know what, maybe go to this person.
Yeah. This might be a silly question, but do you do your own loans? Is that legal? I've never even thought about that.
As a company, we don't.
Okay.
You'd have to go through the company, if you will. Like you won't
Okay.
be able to do like your own loan per se.
Okay. Do you get
Yeah.
better rates than the rest of the world? Or no?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, you can get more creative, if you will, right? So being a broker, we have access to over 140 different lenders.
Mhm.
So there's, there's ways, if you will, to get creative to, but it's not like it's going to be like I'm giving myself a loan at 1% interest rate.
Yeah, that'd be nice. So I have a lot of young, or not, I have young adult children, 20,
Okay.
almost 20, almost 18, and I have a 16-year-old. What would you advise that age group of as far as like their personal life and buying a home? What would you encourage someone who's entering that phase of their life?
Yeah. So for me, probably something that I wish I would have maybe even done for myself is, especially, even when you're young, you're probably like, oh, I know how to do this. Or especially now with AI, you could
Yeah.
easily like get the answers that you want, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like we need to have it a little bit more normalized at a younger age to have professionals in your corner, right? So from a
Mhm.
lending standpoint, specifically, obviously, because I'm in lending, I see it all the time where I'll read a news article or I'll watch the news and they'll say something and completely not factual, right? In a sense of like, almost like, oh yeah, you need to have 20% down or some things like that, where it's like, well, that's just not the case, right? Or just data that that is not true. So for me, obviously, I know that topic very well. Like I'm entrenched
Right.
in it every day.
Yeah.
Like I know it very, very, very well. So knowing it's like, oh man, like that misconception. So for me, it would be my advice would be have a financial advisor, have an
Mhm.
accountant, people who are truly professional in their field
Mhm.
is I think it's going to be potentially life changing to have that right advice, to be able to set yourself up, to be able to buy a house, to be able to invest, to be able to, and maybe also, obviously find somebody you trust, but also, maybe a couple different, source of information too helps. But,
Mhm.
outside of your chat GPT and whatever
Right.
else, I think that to me, looking back at a younger age, I feel like that's what I probably would have done maybe a little bit differently.
Yeah. So Abby, who is your account executive here at Driven, she has a young son. He's 13, and she has intentionally put advisors in his life or mentors in his life,
Of course.
because she believes that's such an important thing. To not for you to not be the only influence on your child, to have
Yeah.
other outside perspectives. I
Yeah.
think your worldview can be bigger too, if it's not just your children hearing it from their parents.
Yep. Yep.
To get
Yeah.
that
And
in.
you also hearing that different perspective from somebody else, right? Somebody, you might end up at the same final destination, but, hearing this piece of information from this person and that person, I think to me goes a long ways, right? To have that open mindedness
Mhm.
versus it's like, oh, I know how to do this, or I know this, I know that, right? It's like you could, I strongly believe that you could learn from everybody, in like little bits of information here and there that we absorb. I think to me goes a long ways. It just makes you better every day.
Oh, yeah. Who have you learned the most from in your life? Who's been the biggest influence on you personally and professionally?
Whew. Well, I'm going to piggyback on exactly what I just said. I think for me, I feel like I learned from everybody, right?
Mm.
It's like everybody, like even the conversation that you and I have, obviously from my parents, my wife, and I think it just goes all my kids, right? Every day I'm like learning, I try to absorb, and I would even say that all of these conversations throughout the day, changes the course of your life as far as like the information that you're receiving. So to me, I would say, yeah, again, everybody that I come in contact with, and fortunately enough, most people that I talk to on a regular basis are, people that I trust and their
Yeah.
opinion. And I have a good group of friends as well that I'm very fortunate to have, and same thing. I think they all play a factor into me thinking like, oh, that's an interesting point, right? And we're all different. We all come from different backgrounds. We all have different perspective of life and thought process, and it's just cool. I think that's a cool part of life.
Yeah, it is. If is there something you would tell your 21-year-old self, 22-year-old self?
Um,
You go back and do anything differently?
You know, I would say I do have the mentality of like, hey, just, just do it, right? Of taking that risk. However, I do feel like sometimes I get um excellent get in the way of good, in a sense of like
Mm.
sometimes I'm so picky and I want something to be so right and just perfect. And you know this, and
Mhm.
the team
Yeah,
knows
I do.
this,
I do.
that I think it stops me from moving. I feel like if I would have let go of that, and I still need to learn to do that, I would probably be 20 steps ahead of where I am today, right? In a
Mhm.
weird way. So at least, hey, I can admit it. I feel good about that.
Yeah, it's the first step is admitting it.
That's right. That's right. However, I need to execute on that. Where,
Right.
again, it's like whether it's my website or whether it's, something at home, and sometimes you get so bogged down in my head that I'm just like, forget it, then I'm not gonna do it. But then on the flip
Right.
side, I have a very, very, very hard time. Like I'm stubborn, I guess, of letting go. So if I have my goal or if I have a thought of doing something, like I'm gonna go all in and I'm gonna do it. But again, sometimes there's things that sets me back just because I want it to be perfect.
Well, I think, the fact that you are open to learning and you know it about yourself, I don't know. I think being self-aware is really important.
Yeah.
Like understanding who we are and then getting the right people on your team to like help in the places where you need it. For
Yeah.
me, I need it with, I have Summer on our team, Robin, Abby, Julie. They ship things for me. So like even this, I'm going to record this. I'm going to send the link over to my team and they're going to put it all together. And I'm hands off on stuff. And I think I have to focus on what I'm good at and let other people do the things that I'd be at my desk all day long.
Yeah.
I think that's as business owners, we always have to be doing that. Like we are the face of the business.
Yeah.
We need to be out there networking or doing things that get our name out, building higher level relationships, putting together partnerships, and let other people do the stuff that we shouldn't be doing. It's just sometimes hard to let it go.
Yeah. There's no question that you do a phenomenal job doing that.
Oh,
And
thank you.
yeah, and I need to learn to do that better.
Yeah, well, I will. Abby's been awesome working with you. She loves it. She thinks you're the greatest thing on the planet. So I
No.
want to wrap this up by asking you, what are you reading or listening to right now that's impacting your life?
The only thing on my agenda to listen to is your podcast because it is
Oh,
the best number one trending podcast on Spotify right now.
true, true. Our moms are the best listeners. Thanks, mom.
So for me, and I don't know if you know him, his name is Darren Hardy.
Mhm.
Okay, so every time I bring it up, people are like, "Oh, I never heard of him." So, anyways, so there's Darren Hardy Daily, right? So that is something that I consume religiously on a regular basis. Truth be told, from a sitting down, I have too from sitting down and reading a full book. Like I feel like I have too much stuff going on in my head where it's like, "Hey, what about this? What about that?" Right? So it really comes down to like, yeah, podcast in the car, and then the Darren Hardy for sure makes me better every single day. And yeah.
Well, I'm going to start texting you anytime I record a podcast that I think will be beneficial for you. I'll text it to you so you can listen to it. And it's easy to get to. I have one more question.
Please.
What's your favorite golf course in Phoenix
In Phoenix,
or in Arizona?
so I like Sidewinder in Gold
Okay.
Canyon. Have you been
Okay.
there?
Is that north?
It's Gold Canyon is east,
Okay. No.
where you're
Okay.
over on the west side, right?
Yeah. I'm on the Wigwam golf course. Have you ever golfed here?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I got a buddy that lives out there.
Okay. I'm
Um,
on the gold course.
the one that I really like, probably the best in the world, in my opinion, is Puerto Los Cabos in Cabo, but
Fun.
not on the Cabo side, on the other side. Highly recommend.
Okay. Wonderful. I'll tell my husband. I'm more of a ride in the golf cart and drink Bloody Marys.
Ah, fair enough.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for your time, Jeremy. You are incredible, and I just wish you all the best. And I'm so excited that you love what you do and that you help people. And how can people get a hold of you? Actually, let's end it with that.
They can call me, they can text me, they can email me,
Okay.
and I am available, ready to go. And even just
24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
my family would feel like that is the case. Yes. But yes, I mean, they can, and that's something that I hang my hat on, right? It's like, people at the end of the day, they want convenient, right? And can I make the process a little bit more convenient for them? Yeah, 100%. So being available, I think it's definitely one of it.
People like that. All right. Thanks, Jeremy.